And speaking of that, but the thing is, I want to include Latin people. You know that, right? Because a lot of us be black. A lot of them Latinos be looking like me and shit. And I got to bring it up. We were just talking about that, weren't we there? Weren't we talking about that shit?
Yes, we were.
And what did you say happened when you posted that shit? It was the thing about the Plantains?
Yeah, you were in a grocery store talking about how Plantains are eaten across Africa, South America, Caribbean.
Yes.
And in my comments, I was getting a ton of well, it depends. Some Latin people are white facing, some Latin people are black facing. Like the technicalities of skin color.
Yeah.
So
they'll say they'll go, we are Spanish. We are Spanish. I said, the language you're speaking is Spanish. Okay. Taínos didn't speak Spanish. They didn't speak, I don't know what they spoke, but they didn't speak Spanish.
They spoke Taíno.
Thank you.
Like its own.
It's its own
Indian
like
dialect.
Native to Native American, right? Mm-hmm. Taíno.
But it was spoken across all the Caribbean islands into the top of South America and parts of Florida.
And
every single country had like a slight.
And I don't even know what it sounds like, Taíno. Do you know what Taíno sounds like?
I've heard different things.
What does it sound like to you? Just stuff
like
that's
that.
Native American shit. Like, right? There's no
like a lot of lock and X's
yeah.
Replace S's and
of course. Taíno. First of all, the Spanish, you know how they say Caribbean? Because Caribs were Native American. The Caribs, you had Arawaks, Caribs. Those were the Native Americans. They were probably black Native American motherfuckers, different shades and shit, brown people. And what were you going to say? Go ahead.
Yeah, they're in the sun.
Thank you. Fuck.
They're in the sun. And, the closer you get to the equator, you know how that goes.
Equatorial people. Hello. Ecuador. What the fuck you think that means? You go to these countries too, and they be like, their television. And that's the bad part about TV. A lot of Latin, they're not going to show the darker people. Like, you know what I mean? And you go to these countries, you go, wow, these are black.
Yeah, so HBO had this show called The Gordita Chronicles.
Gordita?
The Gordita Chronicles, which means, it technically means little fat girl, but it's a term of endearment.
Oh, Gordita.
Gordita,
yeah. Okay, yeah.
And it was about a Dominican family that immigrated to Florida.
Yes.
But they were middle class. They weren't poor.
Right.
It wasn't anything like that. It was a sitcom. Got canceled.
Really?
First season.
It got canceled the first season? Well, was the Gordita? Was it canceled because of complaints or just didn't do that well?
The streaming services never explain. There's so many, like Netflix and all that. There's so many shows that they'll be like, oh, it didn't. We're going to cancel it.
Yeah. Fuck, man.
It's like Sirius XM where like you don't get numbers. You don't know why anything's happening.
You don't know. Right. That's so funny because when I did that Plantain thing, I had people literally, and listen, there were Cubans, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans. The Dominicans gave me the most problems because they sent their flags. They were representing their flags the most. And they were like, yeah, the plantain originated, by the way, I think they said it is believed to have originated in Asia. And I said, do you know when they say believed, it means it's not fact yet, dumbass? I said, that shit is African, bro. I'm sorry.
It says today a third of the plantains in the world are grown in Africa.
Okay, listen. In Nigeria, right, which I am, when my mother would make plantains, my mother would ask us, do you want dodo? We call it dodo or plantain. Yes, Mom, I want plantain. I would like, or she says dodo, we know what it means. The Haitians say, would you like to eat banan? Banan is what they eat. Latinos, maduro, tostone, right? Plátano. The Caribbeans, well, we're all pretty much Caribbean, but the Jamaicans, plantain.
I have the top countries of producers of plantains.
Let's see. What do you got?
So it's I'll work backwards.
Right.
Nigeria, Colombia, Uganda, Ghana, and Cameroon. So it's almost exclusively.
And guess what a lot of Colombians look like? Black as fuck. You never heard of the dance called cumbia? Cumbia is what they dance. It's an African dance.
I thought you meant the...
No, not not that jackass. Cumbia. Not that jackass. And I know he got his mouth shut. That fucking Bisconti got his ass whooped by Pat Dixon, who I know. And I heard I think he can talk now. He was still talking shit about me. I'm like, dude, I didn't do that shit. That just shows how much of a dick you are. I don't wish anything on anybody. I just said you guys deserve to get your ass whooped when you use the N-word. I just said it out there in the air, not saying, oh, let me go send somebody to fuck you up. I never said that, all right? But, yo, that shit is crazy. That's just, that's like nuts. But yeah, so the plantain, and also when I was in Amsterdam, Holland, okay, in Eindhoven, there's the people called the Surinamese. We talk about the Surinamese. I talk about it during December, guys. You know, the blackface situation with the Santa Claus bullshit. Yeah, the Surinamese are the black people of the Holland, right? They speak Dutch, they look like me, and they speak Dutch, okay? Now, they have a plantain. It's not called plantain, but I forgot what it's called, but it's a big-ass fried banana. And I was like, there it is again. I was at this restaurant eating Surinamese food, which was fantastic, and they were like, hey, we have this thing. It's like a plantain that you guys eat. And I said, there goes. And nowhere in Asia is there a fucking plantain. Nowhere in Asia. Asians don't eat plantain, and I eat a lot of Asian food. Southeast, East, I eat China, I eat Korean, I eat Japanese, I eat Malaysian, I eat Indonesia, I eat all that. And if anything, Indonesia and Malaysia would have had the fucking plantain because they're the darker people. But it wasn't around. The Philippines didn't have the shit. None of them had the shit. So that shit's African.
And Google's also saying plantains have been grown in Eastern Africa as early as 3000 BC. So it looks like that's the earliest.
I'm just saying.
And I'm looking through like multiple websites to find different.
Africa. How did the plantains come from that continent to the Hispaniola Islands? How did it get there? You want to answer that for me? Latine? Huh? Come on, pass that mic to her. How did it get to the Hispanic? So I can say that, see, the girl that's Latin said it.
There's two ways to say it. You can say it as slavery.
Right.
Or you call it, how they used to butter it up, an encomienda.
Encomienda.
Yes.
What is that? Encomienda.
That was the hold that the Spaniards had over the Taino people to enslave them. It put them one above the Africanas.
Yes.
Which are the slaves they actually brought from Africa.
Right.
But yeah, it was a sort of less harsh way of slavery.
Right.
But if you didn't agree, you would get lynched in the town square. So it was like,
right. Got you. But that's how the plantain was brought